Collinwood is a legend for those who know it. The great house represents a heritage of fabulous wealth. There have been many men driven by avarice who have wished to plunder its walls. Such a man has attempted to seize a large part of the Collins fortune, but through his own avarice has failed. Now, in another house on the great estate, he is engaged in a last desperate plot to satisfy his greed. And in doing so, he is courting his own destruction.
Take them and get out.
They're not all the jewels with it.
There's some Barnabas wants me to sell. The rest are sealed up on the wall. I haven't got time to get them.
Sealed up on the wall, are they? Well, they weren't sealed up on the wall last night, Willie.
Barnabas told me to put them there. I put them there this morning.
You're lying, Willie.
I'm not lying.
Well, then open up the wall and get them.
I can. I haven't got the time. Take these. They're worth a fortune.
I want the rest of them, Willie.
I told you they're sealed up in the wall.
You know what I think, Willie? I think you're lying. I don't think they're sealed up in the wall at all. I think they're hidden right here, in this coffin.
They're not in there. You've got to believe me.
Then why is this coffin here?
Because it's his coffin.
Oh, come on, Willie, don't start that again.
Please, Jason, you've got more than enough. Get out of here before it's too late.
I'm going to open up this coffin, Willie, and you're not going to stop me.
Okay, then. Open it up. I tried to warn you. I tried.
Yes, that's right, Willie. And I wouldn't listen to you. Would I?
Is he?
Yes, he's dead.
You killed him. You killed him.
How could I let him live? He knew too much.
He's dead. Jason's dead.
What was he doing down here?
I had to bring him here.
You brought him here?
I had to, Barnabas.
Why?
Well, he saw the jewels. He was prowling around outside last night. He saw them through the window. He was crazy to have them.
Go on.
Well, he broke into the house this afternoon while I was out. When I came back, he was still here. He made me tell him where they were. He would have killed me if I hadn't.
You know I'm vulnerable here before the sun goes down, and yet you brought him here.
The sun was about to set.
I should punish you, Willie.
No, Barnabas.
Your job is to guard me, and you placed me in danger.
I couldn't help it. He made me bring him here. He'd have killed me if I hadn't.
If you betray me again, you'll meet a far worse punishment. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'll deal with you later. The job at hand is how to dispose of McGuire's body. He must be buried in a place where no one will find him, where his body will not represent a danger to me.
Well, where can you bury him?
We'll take him to the Collins tomb.
The tomb?
We'll bury him in the secret room. That secret room has been undiscovered for almost 200 years. They'll never find him there.
He was always curious about the tomb. And now he'll be put to rest there. Forever.
Help me carry him upstairs. As soon as it's dark enough, we'll dispose of the body. What is it, Willie?
I can't touch him.
You constantly surprise me. Are you squeamish about death?
He was my friend.
Your friend? But you told me he tried to kill you.
Yeah. But a long time ago, before we came here, we were friends. Good friends.
You really are appallingly sentimental.
You wouldn't understand.
Why? Because I never had a friend who died?
Did you?
Yes. Once. Long ago.
Was it Josette?
No, she lived long before I knew Josette. She died when she was very young and very innocent. She was very dear to me. I mourned her death for a long time.
Never heard you talk this way before. You sound almost
human.
I wasn't going to say that.
Well, this isn't getting our work done. Let's get it over with.
Barnabas, Jason's cat.
Leave it. We'll dispose of it later.
Have you shown the sketch to Maggie yet?
Not yet.
Well, why haven't you? She might very well recognize the child. I mean, she might say something that would help us to locate her. After all, this little girl was in contact with Maggie after she disappeared.
I'm afraid she might suffer a setback if we showed her to her.
Doctor, I'm willing to take that chance.
I thought you were concerned about Maggie.
Well, I am, but I'm convinced that the best way we have of helping Maggie is to find the maniac that kidnapped her. And I'm convinced that this girl is going to lead us to him.
She'll see the sketch in time.
Doctor, we haven't got time. Every day that we delay, we increase the chances of that madman finding out that Maggie's still alive. Even tracking her down here.
She's quite safe here.
Well, you may feel secure, but I don't. I still feel that Maggie's life's in danger. I insist that we show this sketch to Maggie today.
Insist?
Yes, insist.
I think you have forgotten that Maggie Evans is my patient now.
Doctor, she's my patient, too. I'm going to show this sketch to Maggie today. With or without your permission.
I assume you accept full responsibility for the consequences.
I'm perfectly willing to take on that responsibility.
Here she is now. Come in.
Hello, Maggie.
Miss Jackson, you can wait outside. I'll let you know when Maggie's ready to go back to her room.
Do you recognize me, Maggie?
No.
I'm Dr. Woodard.
Doctor?
Dr. Woodard.
How do you feel today, Maggie?
Fine.
Sit down. I want you to look at these pictures and tell me what you see in them.
Before you do that, Maggie, I have a picture I want to show you. A very special picture.
Dr. Woodard, are you sure you want to go through this?
Absolutely. Now, Maggie, I want you to look at this. It's a picture of a little girl.
Little girl?
Do you recognize her, Maggie?
Little girl.
That's right. But do you know the little girl? You know her, Maggie?
She obviously doesn't.
Maggie, please, take another look. A good, long look. Try to remember. Have you ever seen this little girl before?
I don't know.
Are you sure?
It's no use. You're just confusing her. The sketch obviously doesn't have any meaning for her.
I hate to admit it, but I'm afraid you're right.
Sarah.
What'd you say, Maggie?
Girl. Sarah.
Then you recognize the little girl.
Sarah.
Sarah who?
Sarah.
Maggie, don't you know the little girl's last name?
Sarah. Sarah.
How did you come to meet her?
She came to play with me.
Where were you when she came to play with you?
In the room. Room.
The room? What room?
Oh, she's getting excited now. You're pushing her too far.
Oh, don't get upset, Maggie. There's nothing to get upset about. Now listen to me, Maggie. You and Sarah are friends, aren't you?
Yes. Friends.
How did you become friends?
She came to the room. The room.
Tell me about this room.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Maggie, don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared about. Now listen.
You pushed her too far. Now, that's enough.
Don't try to stop me now. I'm just beginning to get someplace. Now, Maggie, I want you to stay very calm. Do you understand? Try to tell me what you remember about this room, where it was. You do remember?
Wanted to escape.
Escape from where?
Little girl. She said she'd help me.
You mean Sarah?
Riddle. The riddle.
What riddle?
1, 2. Away they flew. 1, 2.
Maggie, what's that mean?
3, 4. Near the door.
What door? Where? Where?
5, 6. Count the bricks. Bricks.
Maggie, what does that mean to you?
To escape. Escape.
But escape from where?
Room. I want to get out. I want to escape. Can't. I can't. I can't.
You've asked her enough. Now she's getting hysterical.
Wait.
Maggie, where were you?
Girl.
Where were
way?
you?
Which way?
You're remembering, aren't you?
London Bridge.
Tell me, Maggie.
Falling down.
Tell me.
Falling down.
Maggie.
Falling.
Oh, Maggie.
Take
Maggie,
the
it's all
key
right.
and
It's all
lock
right.
her up.
Take her to
Lock
her room
her
and give
up.
her a sedative,
Lock
and I'll be able to see her later.
Lock her up. Lock her up.
hope you're satisfied. You managed to impede the progress I made with Maggie once again, just as you did when you brought her father and young Haskell to see her.
On the contrary, Doctor, I think we made progress today.
I don't know what you mean. All we found was that she was in a room, somewhere. What does that mean?
Nothing.
Exactly.
But, Doctor, we did establish a connection between Maggie and this little girl. If we can locate this little girl, we may find out what happened to Maggie. I tell you, I'm convinced that this child is going to give us the clue that'll break this whole thing wide open.
Say farewell to Jason McGuire, Willie. It's ironic that a man who loved life and his freedom as much as he should end up in a narrow, unmarked grave.
Let's get out of here.
What's the matter, Willie? Don't you like it here?
I just want to go.
All right. Goodbye, McGuire. You might have lived, but your greed destroyed you.
Coming?
In a moment.
What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking what a pity it is that I should have to defile the family tomb with the body of Jason McGuire.
That's right. It's your family in here, isn't it?
This was to have been our final resting place, but I never found rest or peace.
Joshua Collins. That was your father, wasn't it?
He could have brought me peace, but he didn't. He thought he was being merciful. What he did was no act of mercy.
Naomi Collins.
My mother.
I saw a picture of her once. She was very beautiful.
I remember her as being very quiet. She was a very gentle woman.
Sarah Collins. That was your sister.
Yes.
There isn't much in the family histories about her.
She died when she was very young. She was only 9 years old. The day before she died, she broke her doll and asked me to mend it for her. She was so happy when she saw the doll mended. She died with it in her arms.
You really cared about her, didn't you?
Yes, she was very sweet, very dear to me.
Is she the friend you were talking about before?
Perhaps.
Strange, thinking about you caring about someone.
Well, we've lingered here long enough. It's time to go.
Come.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.
The strange needs of a man who has crossed from another world will have a lasting effect on those who are innocent. He walks the earth a lonely, desolate soul, searching for a relationship that can never be real.
I checked around town. The talk is Jason left town because the sheriff ordered him.
Then there's no suspicion?
No, none at all. No one really cared about him.
But you did.
Well, we went through a lot together.
That's all in the past now.
Yeah, the past. I'll forget him.
Don't forget him entirely. Remember what happened to him.
I knew you'd be up here. You've been spending a lot of time up here.
I've been thinking about many things.
What kind of things?
Future, my plans. I've decided to wait no longer. This room will be occupied very soon.
Well, if another girl disappears the same way Maggie Evans did, they might become suspicious.
It won't be the same. Miss Evans came here unwillingly. The next one will come of her own free will.
Well, that's impossible.
Don't underestimate me. That's a great error. And if I find you being the least bit uncooperative, you'll regret it.
I'll cooperate.
Things have been all too depressing of late. It's time for a change. This house must become a more inviting place. I know. I will invite the Collins family here for a gathering.
Well, what do you mean?
Yes. Now let me see. A dinner party would be too formal, too unrelaxed. Elizabeth hasn't seen the restoration of this house. And that will be my excuse for the party. But there has to be another element.
Of course. A costume party.
Everyone will come dressed in the costume of that period. We will relive a moment out of the past. And Miss Winters will wear Josette's dress.
Doing your homework?
Hello, Roger.
Liz, why must you spend so much time going through the company accounts?
Because it has to be done.
It doesn't have to be done here, does it?
What do you mean?
Well, why can't it be done during the day down at the office? What I'm really saying is, why don't you come down to the office?
I can't.
Why not? The reason for your staying in this house all these years no longer exists. There's nothing for you to protect, nothing to hide.
No, I suppose not.
Well, don't you think it's about time you thought of getting out?
Yes, I guess so.
Do you realize that you haven't seen all of the improvements and the additions in the cannery?
I realize there are a lot of things I haven't seen.
And what about it?
All right, Roger. I will.
Good. I'll personally conduct you on a grand tour. Oh, they'll be so delighted to see you down there again, Liz.
Thank you, Roger. I appreciate it.
Of course, I may regret having you come down there. You may like it so much that you'll want to take over the whole thing.
Oh, don't worry. I'll leave that job to the others.
Speaking of jobs, now that Mr. McGuire is no longer employed by the company, is it safe to assume that the position won't be filled that was created for him?
Quite safe.
One other thing. I would like to know exactly where is Jason McGuire?
Is there a doubt in your mind that he's gone?
Well, it seems. So it seems.
Why?
Well, that wardrobe you bought him. It's still upstairs in his room. He has very expensive tastes, and I don't think that he would leave it behind. He has to come out of this with something, if only that.
Yes, he would have taken them.
And his other personal things are still there. A man usually takes his razor when he travels.
You mean he left everything?
Everything.
Well, perhaps he took the sheriff literally.
And left town? Possibly. One thing is certain. He didn't leave by bus or train.
How do you know?
Well, because the sheriff was checking. No one saw him leave town. No one is sure that he's gone.
Well, if I know Jason, he's gone. He had far too much pride to allow himself to stay in a place where he'd been defeated.
The Blue Whale was the last place he was seen. He was with his friend Willie. They were having a last drink together, which developed into an argument of sorts. They left separately. That was the last time he was seen.
I understand Vicky saw him there, too. She gave him quite a tongue lashing.
Good for her.
He told her he was going.
Well, I'd like to get his room fumigated.
I'll have Mrs. Johnson pack his things. And if we don't hear from him, his belongings can be given to charity.
Oh, I'd like that idea. He'd hate that.
I'm quite sure we've seen the last of Jason McGuire.
Hello, Mr. Collins.
Good evening, Miss Winters. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
I'm feeling extremely well, thank you.
Won't you come in?
I was just enjoying the view of the ocean. Have you noticed it tonight?
No, I haven't.
Jeremiah Collins certainly knew what he was doing when he built the house on this site.
Yes, I've admired the view time and time again.
The moon and the sea seem as one tonight.
Makes a lovely scene.
Perhaps that's why I'm in such a good mood. I like the night very much. Do you?
Sometimes.
I prefer it. I find the daylight harsh and cruel, whereas the night is kind and soft.
I think that the night can be as cruel as the day. It all depends on the circumstances.
But see how beautiful the moon is. When one considers that the moon takes on its beauty by reflecting the rays of the sun, it seems inconceivable that the sun could be so ugly.
I don't think the sun is ugly.
Well, one cannot even look upon it without being blinded. It burns the skin, it scorches the earth.
But our whole universe revolves around it. We can't exist without it.
For me, it is to be avoided rather than adored.
Mr. Collins, man was designed to live with it.
And I have been redesigned to live without it.
What do you mean?
Well, simply that I find myself more active and alive at night.
But then when do you sleep?
I find the time. I enjoy talking to you, Miss Winters.
Thank you.
I only regret that I haven't been able to devote more time to you.
Well, I'm sure you've been very busy.
I look forward to future discussions with you on such other subjects as life and death.
Quite an interest in philosophy.
Yes, I do. My education in that subject was both formal and practical. And I'm delighted to see that you also find it interesting. I have a number of books that would interest you. Please feel free to borrow them at any time.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I know that you have a great interest in history, and I've acquired some rare volumes that any historian would be eager to see.
You must have a very interesting library.
What I have is a museum of sorts. And now that I've restored the interior of the house to its original condition, I've been seeking to find a way of recreating a moment out of the past. And I have some marvelous plans, exciting plans that I know that you will be interested in. That's why I'm here tonight.
What are they?
You'll find out soon enough. Now, where is my cousin?
Mrs. Stoddard is in here with Roger.
Oh, good. I'm delighted that he's here. Would you tell them, please, that I'd like to speak to them for a few minutes?
Of course.
Come in.
Excuse me, but Barnabas Collins is here. He'd like to see both of you.
Oh, ask him to come in, please.
Please come in.
Thank you.
Barnabas, how nice to see you.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, Barnabas.
Hello, Roger.
How nice of you to drop by. You live so near, and yet we never see you.
Well, that is a fault of mine, and one that I want to rectify right away. That's why I've come. I'd like Miss Winters to hear what I'm about to say.
Oh, of course. Sit down, Vicky.
Thank you.
I have an idea that I hope will appeal to you, all of you. Something that we could all use right now. Elizabeth, particularly you, who have been through so much lately. I think it is time that we all lightened it and had a pleasant experience.
Well, I'm all for that.
I've completed restoration on most of my house, and it's very much like it was when it was there originally. And I would like to show it to all of you.
How very nice of you.
And for that reason, I would like to have a small party for you. A family party.
Well, I think that's an excellent idea.
But not just an ordinary party. I'd like to go a step further. This is to be a costume party.
Costume? What sort of costumes?
Costumes of the period. Costumes of the people who lived in that house. Everyone is to come wearing a costume of the Collins family.
Oh, what a splendid idea.
What do you think, Miss Winters?
I think it sounds wonderful.
I think it's just what this family needs to pick it up. When do you plan to have it?
This Friday night, if it doesn't conflict with your plans.
Well, no plans, but it is rather short notice to get a costume for it.
I've already considered that problem, and I've taken the responsibility of getting them. They are the clothes that our ancestors wore. I found them very carefully stored.
You mean that we'd be wearing those clothes?
Yes. But I assure you they will be immaculate and in perfect condition.
Well, I accept your invitation.
Excellent. And you, Miss Winters?
Of course. And thank you for thinking enough of me to invite me.
I think a great deal of you. Of all of you. And Elizabeth, you most of all. You will come, won't you?
I don't think so.
Barnabas is waiting in the study.
You shouldn't have asked him to wait because I had no intention of changing my mind.
Well, I intend to change it for you.
Don't try, please.
I've never seen a look of disappointment so much as on his face.
Oh, I'm sorry, but there's no reason why you can't all go to the party without me.
Liz, Barnabas wouldn't give the party without you.
I think it's unfair to blame me entirely for the canceling of a party.
But the party's being given mostly for you.
I thought it was being given to display the restoration of the house.
Well, it's a combination of both. Now, give me one good reason why you can't go.
Because I don't want to, and that's sufficient.
Barnabas is taking it as personal rejection.
He shouldn't.
Well, now, Liz, we've gone over this earlier tonight. You're behaving like a recluse again.
I don't want to hear that word again.
Well, then stop acting like one. Barnabas is giving you a wonderful opportunity to open up and to laugh and to have fun.
Roger, I appreciate it, but...
But then why don't you appreciate it by going? Oh, come on, Liz. Give us a chance to feel like we're doing something.
Well, you're right, of course, about what I should do.
Well, then do it.
But there's something about this party that doesn't seem right to me.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Oh, all this living in the past.
Well, I think it's the most charming idea I've heard in a long time. And once you get the swing of it, you'll have a marvelous time. Now, come on, what do you say?
I don't know.
Oh, Liz, you'll go. And if you don't really enjoy yourself, I'll make some excuse for you and I'll bring you home.
All right. I'll go.
Wonderful. Vicky, would you ask Barnabas to come in, please? He'll be very pleased.
I hope everything's going to turn out the way you think it will.
Well, he has excellent taste. This is going to be the party of the century. Barnabas, good news. Tell him, Liz.
I accept your invitation and look forward to a wonderful evening.
That's splendid. I can't tell you how happy I am.
I hope you weren't offended by my reluctance to accept. It had nothing to do with you.
I understand completely.
Well, now tell us about your plans.
All right. Now, each of us is to come as a member of the Collins family.
Well, it takes no imagination whatsoever to guess who you're coming as. Barnabas, your namesake.
Yes, my namesake.
And I assume you have a role picked out for me?
Yes, a very wealthy one.
Oh, I like it already. Who is it?
You will be Joshua Collins.
Well, that would make me your father.
That's correct.
And who will I be?
And you will be Naomi Collins.
Very appropriate. There is a resemblance.
And who will I be?
And you will be Josette Collins.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.
An invitation has come to Collinwood. An invitation to enter the past. A party at which the clothes worn by the guests will belong to another time, as well as to another identity. Where for a few candlelit hours, an evening long dead will live again. But the past, like the future, can hold its uncertainties, and no one can prophesy where this journey out of time will lead. One can only follow the strange and melancholy man who will be its guide.
I made a very simple request. I don't know why you should hesitate.
Because the clothes in that trunk will never be used.
Willie, I'm in far too fine a frame of mind to listen to you.
I know you're thinking you can persuade Mrs. Stoddard and Miss Winters to come to a costume party, but I told you they won't do it.
I'm aware of your pessimism, Willie, but I intend to ignore it.
They'll laugh at you when you ask them, and then you'll get angry.
You're so certain that they will refuse.
They'll never accept.
How fortunate for me that you are merely my servant and not my advisor.
What do you mean?
I asked my cousins and Miss Winters last night to attend a party here at this place.
You asked them?
Yes. And they accepted.
They didn't laugh at you?
No, on the contrary. Now, will you please bring down the trunk to Josette's room? I'll be waiting for you there. Thank you. And now open it, please.
Is this the one?
Yes, this is the one.
And your cousins are actually going to wear these old clothes?
Old. They look the same now as they did when they were first worn, as though no time had passed at all.
Just doesn't seem like the kind of thing Mrs. Stoddard or Mr. Collins would do.
Well, the Collins family have always been responsive to anything imaginative. And besides, I believe I had more than one advocate.
Advocate?
Someone to state my case.
Who was that?
Well, my cousin Roger, for one, and Miss Winters.
Miss Winters?
She was enchanted with the idea. The way her eyes brightened when I suggested it.
She helped persuade the others to go along with the whole idea?
Of course, and I intend to show my gratitude.
How?
You already know.
I think you should stay away from her.
It would be rude of me not to invite her to the party. My cousins accept her as one of the family. Why shouldn't I?
Because that's not what you're really doing.
Oh? And what am I really doing?
You know as well as I do. You said so yourself.
Well, if we both know it, why this need to discuss it?
She never hurt anybody, and nobody should hurt her.
I agree.
How you know that isn't true?
I intend to create an exquisite and entertaining evening for her. How could that possibly harm her?
There's more to it than that. She's coming as Josette, isn't she?
Of course. It seems a logical choice. And I thought that you might appreciate that.
Does it have to be Vicky?
Now, Willie, I must warn you that you're beginning to irritate me. I don't want to hear any more of this. Is that understood?
Yes.
Good. Now, I have to make a call on my cousin Elizabeth.
Barnabas, wait.
What is it?
It's dangerous. Don't do it.
I thought the discussion was closed.
I'm not talking about Vicky now. I'm talking about the whole party. All those people coming here. giving them the idea they can start coming around any time they feel like it. Now, you know that's not what you want.
That can be handled in due time.
Don't do it, Barnabas. Don't have the party.
Not have the party when all my plans are going so nicely? Now, please, that's out of the question. And please, no more thinly veiled arguments about Miss Winters. Now, you told me that I could expect complete cooperation from you. Please don't make me alter that expectation. It may lead you into a great deal of trouble. You have no plans this evening for Miss Winters, Elizabeth. And if she would herself consent, perhaps she would come over and help select the clothes for the party.
I'd love to.
Well, actually, Victoria's completely free this evening.
Then you'll come.
Of course. I love going through trunks of old clothes. I think I pretty well know everybody's size.
Well, in that case, I'd be extremely grateful for your help.
Barnabas.
Yes?
I know I've accepted your invitation.
And that pleased me very much.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, but...
What is it?
Well, I'm not so sure now that I can come.
Mrs. Stoddard.
Yes, I know I said I would, but do we have to come in those clothes you found?
But that's the whole idea behind the party. Mr. Collins has restored the house to its original condition.
I know.
And when we wear the dresses that they actually wore in those days, well, it'll be just like an evening out of the past.
Yes.
I have seen the clothes, and I can assure you they're in excellent repair. Why, they look exactly as they did when they were first worn.
How would you know that?
Well, I mean, they seem to be as fine now as they must have been then.
Well, that bothers me even more.
Bothers you?
Wearing those clothes, coming as actual people out of the past.
But that's the fun of it.
I guess you're right. But...
What is it?
Oh, I'm not superstitious, believe me.
You think that perhaps our ancestors would resent our masquerading in their clothes?
No, but I feel there's something wrong in getting that close to the past.
If you'll allow me to say it, Elizabeth, perhaps you are a bit superstitious.
Well, I'm not. I never used to be. Maybe it's just because I've lived so close to the family past all my life. As a Collins, I'm sure our ancestors must sometimes be as real to you as the people living in the present.
Yes, perhaps. Sometimes.
They have so much reality for me, as it is. They seem so close even now. I'm not sure I want to do anything to bring them any closer.
But that doesn't sound like you at all, Mrs. Stoddard.
I know, because I've never felt this way before, but I do now.
But surely you're not afraid.
Maybe I am. Couldn't we come as we are?
Well, if the idea of costumes frightens you.
But I don't understand why you should be afraid of this.
Neither do I.
And there's nothing I can say to lessen your fears?
You might forgive my foolishness.
No forgiveness is necessary. If it's your wish, we can dispense with the costumes.
Then I guess I won't be able to wear one of those lovely dresses that belong to Josette.
You looked forward to it a great deal, didn't you?
Yes, I guess I did.
Well, perhaps there'll be another occasion.
I hope so.
You were really looking forward to the costumes as much as the party itself, weren't you, Vicky?
It's all right. As Mr. Collins said, perhaps there will be another time.
No, it needn't be another time. Just because I have a few ridiculous feelings is no reason to give in to them. And I have no right to spoil everybody else's pleasure.
You're a very generous woman, Elizabeth.
Well, a moment ago, I was a very foolish one.
Then I will be Josette after all.
That really pleases you, doesn't it?
Very, very much.
I had Willie put the trunk in here.
This was her room.
Yes.
I wonder if she was as lovely as this room. What's the matter?
Nothing. Merely an odd sensation when we entered the room.
As though someone were in here.
Perhaps Elizabeth's anxieties have infected us both.
But I know what you mean. I feel it too.
Nonsense. Now, here is the trunk. And here are the clothes.
Oh. Exquisite. Who did it belong to?
You have only to look at the portrait to know.
It was hers. It was Josette.
Apparently. Do you like it?
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It would be a perfect fit.
Then you must wear it.
No. I couldn't. I'd be afraid to. It's much too fine and elegant.
All the more reason for it to be yours.
You're the most gallant man I ever met. Sometimes I think you belong to a completely different time than ours.
Oh?
More to her time. Perhaps that's why this house suits you so perfectly.
Given the choice, which time would you prefer? Hers or ours?
I don't know. But I think if I could wear dresses like this all the time, I'd be very happy and very vain. I think this one would do very well for Carolyn. Who would she be if she wore it? Oh, wait. There's a monogram in here. MC?
Well, she'd be Millicent Collins, I imagine.
Oh, she'll like that. I wonder if Roger could wear this. I'm not sure.
No, that isn't the right one. Roger's to come as Joshua, remember?
And you don't think this belonged to Joshua?
From the portraits I've seen, I can tell that belongs to Jeremiah Collins.
Oh. Jeremiah Collins. Josette's husband.
Now, I'm sure we'll find something of Joshua's for Roger. Yes.
Look. A little girl's dress.
Where did you get that?
Here in the trunk. Whose do you think it was?
Well, I'm not certain. But there was a child, a little girl, a daughter of Naomi and Joshua Collins.
Then she would have been the little sister of the first Barnabas Collins, whose portrait is in the foyer.
Yes, the little sister of Barnabas Collins.
Do you know anything about her?
She died very young, they say.
Sorry.
They say she was a lovely child. They say her brother loved her very much.
You sound as though you knew her.
Well, Elizabeth was right. For members of the Collins family, sometimes the ancestors are a bit too real.
I can understand that.
Can you?
Yes. I think if I knew who my ancestors were, I'd want to learn everything I could about them. And then I'd love them or hate them as though they were real people.
Would you?
Maybe not. If I knew who they were, maybe I'd feel free to forget about them. I don't know.
You miss a family identity, don't you?
Sometimes. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like.
You'll find out soon enough.
What do you mean?
If you become Josette, you'll take on her whole character. Her very lineage will be yours.
Become Josette?
Well, yes. The evening of the party.
Oh, yes. But I seriously doubt that wearing her dress and being in her house will be the same thing as being her. Although I must say I like the idea.
You do?
Well, anyway, for the evening.
Yes. For the evening.
Mr. Collins said that Willie would bring the costumes over in the morning, but I couldn't bear to part with mine. Have you ever seen anything so beautiful?
It's lovely.
And wait till you see the one you're going to wear, Naomi's dress. Oh, why can't we dress like this all the time?
I think we tire of it very quickly.
Never.
You seem to share my cousin's love of the past.
He has the most extraordinary knowledge of the Collins family history.
Oh, yes. It's something of an avocation with him.
You know something?
What?
It's almost as though he belongs to a completely different time from ours. When he talks about the past, it's as though it's something he's remembering, not something he learned.
Vicky, I've become superstitious. You've become incurably romantic.
Maybe. But just the same, I wonder if that isn't why he always seems a little bit sad, a little bit lost. Because he is lost in the present. He really does come from another time. He'll never find it. Because it's gone forever.
Barnabas? Barnabas?
Yes, come in.
I saw her leave with the dress.
In the morning, you are to take the clothes on that bed to Collinwood. You can take the trunk up to the attic after the party.
Where did this come from?
From the trunk.
This was in the trunk with all those old clothes?
Yes, why do you ask?
But this was the kind of dress... Oh, it couldn't have been.
What are you mumbling about?
Nothing.
Yes, you were. What was it? Something about that dress?
Well, remember that little girl I told you about who was playing outside the house?
Yes. What about her?
She was wearing a dress almost exactly like this one.
What?
That's what it looked like.
Well, that's ridiculous. This dress was worn by a little girl a long, long time ago.
I don't think I'm wrong.
Well, obviously you are. Now, come. I have things for you to do other than to make preposterous statements.
She had long hair.
I'm not interested. Now, come.
My dress. My blue dress. I found my blue dress.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.
The dark mantle of deception hangs heavily over Collinwood. There are those who are about to play a game that death has devised, a game that death cannot lose. They don the garments that will transform them into other people from another time, garments that will help forward a diabolical scheme.
Come in. Well, when does the minuet begin? Well, it won't begin at all if somebody doesn't button me up the back. Oh, it looks beautiful on you. Thank you. I'm amazed that it fits so well. Mine needs a few small alterations. I feel as though I'm going to the family prom. I wanted to try this on before tomorrow night. There, all buttoned up. Now let's see what you look like. Does it look all right? Does it? Oh, Vicky, if I didn't know you, I would swear you were Josette Collins. What's the matter?
I don't know. When you said her name, the strangest feeling came over me.
What kind of feeling?
A feeling that I'd worn this dress before and that I'd gone through a moment that I'd experienced before.
It is strange. I'll tell you something, Vicky. When I was trying on this dress of Millicent Collins, a chill went through me.
A chill?
The feeling that I shouldn't be putting the dress on. I felt somehow as though I were an intruder.
What do you mean?
Well, maybe it was the realization that this was the actual dress that Millicent wore over 130 years ago. Yes, that must be it. I'll tell you, Vicky, if I get that feeling again, the next time I put this dress on, I don't think I'll be able to wear it at all.
Of course you will.
Vicky, if you had the same feeling you just had, will you wear the gown to the party?
Yes.
But how could you?
Because I don't think there's anything wrong with that kind of feeling. Besides, I'm flattered that you think I resemble Josette. Carolyn, you'll feel differently about it by tomorrow night.
I hope so. This party sounded like such a good idea to begin with. Now I'm beginning to wonder.
You shouldn't wonder. It's a brilliant idea. And it's going to bring this family closer together and give it a sense of ancestry and heritage and tradition.
Frankly, I think we have a little bit of too much of that already. I respect the past, Vicky, but I have no desire to live in it.
This is just a harmless masquerade. It's just something to help lift us out of the depression we've all been in.
I suppose you're right.
Roger had quite a time persuading your mother to go, but she's going to be going.
I can't imagine my mother going to a party. That in itself makes this a unique occasion. It'll be the first one for her in 18 years.
I'm sure she'll have a wonderful time.
Carolyn, I hope that this party's going to be an enormous success. I'm going to do everything I can to make it just that. Even if it includes wearing a dress that makes me feel strange. Okay, you've made your point. I'll wear this 19th century Dior. I'm going to be very proud that for at least one night I'll actually be a member of the Collins family. Vicky, you should be a member of the family. If anyone deserves to be a Collins, it's you. Victoria Collins. Victoria Collins. No. Josette Collins. Has to be Josette Collins.
How is everything progressing?
Okay, getting everything cleaned up.
I want this place immaculate. Did you deliver the costumes?
Yeah.
Good. Then Vicky Winters will have tried hers on by now and found it to be a perfect fit.
I guess so.
Everything is going very well. Tomorrow evening will be an occasion long remembered. That night must go with nothing wrong. I want everything to be just as I planned it.
I'll do whatever you want.
This will be the most important night of my life.
It'll work out.
Yes. I'm sure it will.
Hello, Caroline.
Come in, won't you?
Thank you.
To what do we owe the pleasure of this visit?
Well, I wanted to speak to Vicky for a moment, if she's here.
She is. I'll get her for you.
Oh, Caroline. I've been meaning to ask you if everything is all right now.
Yes. For once, everything seems to be all right.
And you've gotten all that motorcycle business out of your system?
Every bit of it. Never again. Berg, I want to thank you for the things you've done for us. You've taken a lot from this family. But in spite of it all, you came through for us at the crucial moment.
Oh, come on now. I didn't do the whole thing.
Well, at least let me thank you for the part you did play in pulling my mother through.
Well, where do you go from here?
I don't know. But I know that whatever I do, I can do now with a clear conscience. Oh, here she is now. Vicky, there's a salesman here to see you. Oh? What's he selling?
Subscriptions.
Well, I might be in the market for one.
Well, ma'am, if I can have a few moments of your time, I could explain the whole thing to you.
Would you excuse me? I have to try to fix my party dress. I'll be right up to help you. I can use some help.
Have you two gone in for dressmaking?
No, I'm just helping Carolyn alter her dress that she has to wear.
Busy girls.
Well, now, what's this about a subscription?
Well, it's a subscription to Dinner of the Week Club.
Is it expensive?
Only to me.
Well, sounds like something I might be interested in.
Fine.
And how does one go about joining?
Well, I'll tell you. If you go out to dinner with me tomorrow night, I'll explain the whole thing to you in detail.
I'd love to. Oh,
What's the matter?
I just remembered I can't.
Why not?
Because I am going to a party tomorrow.
A party?
Barnabas Collins is giving a party for the Collins family.
Well, do you have to go?
Yes, but more than that, I want to go.
It sounds very important.
It's going to be a very special party.
Well, what's so special about it?
Barnabas wanted to do something to lift us all out of the doldrums. And so he came up with a brilliant idea of having us all come to his party dressed as one of our ancestors. And he even supplied us with the actual clothes that were worn by those ancestors. Mrs. Stoddard is going as Naomi Collins, and Carolyn is going as Millicent Collins, and Roger is going as Joshua Collins.
And you? Who are you going as?
A very, very special one.
Which one?
Josette Collins.
Josette Collins? Josette Collins. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Why Josette Collins?
Because Barnabas chose me to be her.
Well, why did he choose Josette for you? Why not for Carolyn or Mrs. Stoddard?
Because he thinks I resemble her and that I'm like her in some ways.
It's funny, but something bothers me about this. I don't know why. Maybe it dates back to that seance where Josette Collins spoke through you.
Oh. Well, I don't think that means anything. I think that's just a coincidence.
I hope so. I really hope so. Well, at any rate, you're booked for tomorrow night, and my salesmanship is not at all what I thought it was.
I'm sorry, but will you ask me again?
You're the standing invitation.
I wish you were going to be there tomorrow night. I really think you'd enjoy it.
It sounds interesting.
Will be. Burke, it's going to be a wonderful party. I wonder.
You wonder what?
I wonder if you couldn't go.
Now, I'm not going to crash a party.
Well, I don't mean that. But after all, it is a party, and the attitude of the Collins family has changed toward you. I wonder if you couldn't be invited.
Well, now, I can't march down to Barnabas and ask for an invitation.
No. But if I go down, maybe I can speak to him and you could be invited.
No, Vicky. Thank you very much. I appreciate the thought. But, well, I don't feel snubbed. And I really don't have any business at a family party anyway. Look, we'll have dinner some other time.
Oh, but I could talk to him. I know I could.
Oh, now, Vicky, no. Now, I'd look fine in one of those costumes, wouldn't I?
You'd look fantastic. Oh, come on. You've got to drive me. Yes, you're going to drive me down there, and I'm going to see to it that you're...
All right, I'll drive you. But
Is Mr. Collins here?
Yeah, he's here.
May I speak to him?
Sure, come on in.
Well, I see you getting everything ready for the party.
I've been working. There's a lot to do.
You deserve a lot of credit for this party, Willie. Everybody's coming to see your work.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'll be around.
Are you going to wear a costume?
I don't know. Mr. Collins wants me to, but I feel a little funny about it.
Oh, you must. It's going to be so much fun.
Think so?
Yes, I do. You could do with some fun, Willie. You never smile. Do you know that?
Haven't got much to smile about, that's all.
Well, yes, you do. Willie, you've done a fantastic job on this house. You should be very happy and very proud of it. You deserve to be.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you very much for saying that. There's a lot of things we deserve and never get. And there's a lot of things we get and don't deserve.
That's an interesting philosophy, Willie. But I'm dedicated to seeing that people get what I think they deserve. I know one thing you deserve, Willie. A brief respite from your work.
I could use one. Be seeing you, Vicky.
All right.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted that you've chosen to visit me this evening.
But I can only stay for a moment.
I hope it will be longer than a moment.
Oh, I'm afraid somebody's waiting for me in the car outside.
Oh, I see.
I wanted to ask you something about tomorrow night.
No problems have arisen, I hope.
Oh, no, there are no problems at all.
And Josette's dress? It fits?
It fits perfectly, just as though it were made for me.
Wonderful. I'm sure that you look lovely in it.
Thank you.
And the others, do their costumes fit?
They only need a few minor alterations.
And everyone is coming?
Without fail, we'll all be here.
Well, then obviously there are no problems. Well, what is it you wanted to speak to me about?
Well, since there are only 4 of us coming, and since it's such a special occasion, I was wondering if there couldn't be an additional guest.
An additional guest? Well, whom did you have in mind?
Burke Devlin.
Burke Devlin?
Yes.
Why should you want to ask him?
Well, when I got your invitation, I'd completely forgotten that I'd had a previous engagement with him.
I see. Well, you understand, of course, that the party is for the members of the family only.
Oh, I know that. But you've already made an exception for me. I thought perhaps you could make another exception.
I really don't know what to say. You're hardly an exception. You're part of the family.
It would mean so much to me.
Would it?
Yes. And I'm sure that he'd be a great asset to your party.
Would he? Perhaps you're right. There is a role that Mr. Devlin could play.
There is?
Yes. He could play a very important member of the family.
Which one?
Jeremiah Collins.
Jeremiah. Wasn't he the husband of Josette?
That's correct. And he was also the man who built Collinwood. Well, a gathering of the Collins family certainly wouldn't be complete without Jeremiah. Yes, that's the role that Mr. Devlin will play. You may tell Mr. Devlin that he's cordially invited tomorrow evening.
Thank you so much.
And tell him that his costume will be delivered tomorrow morning. And I look forward with great pleasure to seeing him.
I will. Thank you again.
Until tomorrow night, then, Josette.
Yes, of course. Good night, Barnabas Collins. I think tomorrow when you're in your costume, you will look very much like the other Barnabas Collins.
I'll do everything in my power to make that believable.
Good night.
Good night. Willie. There will be another guest, Willie.
Who?
Burke Devlin.
He's coming to the party?
Well, it's something that Miss Winters desired, but could be very useful to me.
What do you mean?
Burke Devlin is coming as Jeremiah Collins. Oh, that doesn't mean much to you, I realize. But to me, he was an object of hate. He was the worst enemy I had. If time had permitted, I would have destroyed him. Tomorrow night, I may well have that opportunity.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.
The night wind murmurs through the ancient trees surrounding Collinwood, sounding like hushed voices speaking in whispers. Voices from the past, whispering from a void that transcends time. On this night, the voices may be heard most clearly in the forest surrounding a gloomy, forbidding old house. For there is one in that house who would transcend time this night, who would cause the past to merge with the present, who would cause the land of the living to merge with the land of the dead.
Everything's ready.
Good.
When will they get here?
Soon.
What's that you're looking at? Isn't that...
A volume of family portraits.
The people whose costumes they're going to wear to the party?
Yes.
Oh, I'm still surprised. Mrs. Stoddard and all the rest of them went along with this party.
Only because I know them better than you. They were delighted with the idea, especially Miss Winters.
And she didn't object coming dressed as Josette?
She couldn't have been more delighted.
And Mrs. Stoddard?
She agreed to come dressed as Naomi Collins.
Your mother?
Yes. It will be like seeing my mother again. The resemblance between the two is striking.
Who's coming dressed as your father?
Roger. He bears a less pronounced resemblance to my father, but a certain resemblance is there. I look forward to their arrival. It will be like meeting again.
Whose picture are you looking at now? Isn't that...
Jeremiah Collins.
Josette's husband?
Yes.
Well, why did you hate him so much?
Because he stood in the way of my happiness and Josette's. I loathed him more than I ever loathed another human being. Every moment I saw him, I longed for his death. And with Burke Devlin cast in the role of Jeremiah, we will once more meet again. Tonight.
Listen to that wind.
What about it?
It's so loud tonight. Louder than usual.
You're behaving rather strangely, kitten.
For some reason, I feel sort of nervous.
Nervous? I don't know why you should.
I don't either. But I have been all day. Ever since I tried on this costume. I have a very odd feeling about wearing these clothes.
Nonsense. Your costume is very becoming.
I guess I'm just being silly. We'll have a good time at the party.
Of course we will. You know, I think that party's a good idea. Not only for us, but for your mother. Oh, it'll get her out of this house.
Yes, I know.
I'm actually looking forward to it. Even though, thanks to Vicky, it won't be strictly a family affair.
I'm glad Vicky asked Burke. Uncle Roger, please try to be civil to him.
Well, I'll meet him halfway, kitten, but Mr. Devlin and I will never be the best of friends under any circumstances.
Even so, you should make the effort.
Roger.
Liz! Well, I should say, Naomi. My dear, you look splendid.
I really don't want to go to the party.
Now, Liz, you promised and you're already dressed. Oh, that's nonsense now. Barnabas has gone to a lot of trouble. His feelings would be slighted if we didn't come.
Uncle Roger's right, Mother. You don't want to hurt his feelings, do you?
No.
Now, no buts about it. You can't back out. If you don't enjoy yourself, I'll bring you home, but you must at least put in an appearance.
Oh, all right. I'll put in an appearance.
That's better. Now, can I get you a drink?
No, thank you.
Am I the last one?
Well, Vicky. Well, it's like seeing a portrait of Josette Collins.
That's quite a compliment, thank you.
You look lovely, Vicky.
I've never seen a dress so beautiful, and I've never felt so elegant in all my life. I only wish it were possible to dress this way all the time.
I'm just as glad we don't have to dress like this all the time.
Well, I'm not. I'd love it. I know I would.
Well, your Mr. Devlin is not very punctual, Vicky.
You go on ahead. I'll wait for him.
I think perhaps we should. We're a few minutes late already. I don't want to keep Barnabas waiting.
Then you go on, and I'll see you at the party.
Carolyn?
I'll get my wrap.
Liz, you coming?
Yes.
We'll see you later.
All right.
This time, don't disappoint me. Let me come to you. Accept me. I've waited so long for you, Josette.
Guests are here.
All of them?
All except Miss Winters and Burke Devlin.
I see.
What are you doing with that?
Why do you ask?
You planning to give it to Miss Winters?
Possibly.
Well, I don't think she'll accept it.
Why not?
I just don't. Now, you said you wanted her to come to you willingly. Now, that's not going to be as easy as you think.
Isn't it?
And even if she does, there'll be others who'll stop her.
Others?
Burke Devlin, for one. He won't let her come to you.
I don't think that Mr. Devlin will pose much of a problem.
What are you planning to do with him?
What makes you think I'm planning to do anything with him?
I know you. I know you're planning something. What is it?
Willie, my plans are my own. Now, my guests are waiting.
What are you planning,
I said my guests are waiting.
The accuracy in the restoration of this room is uncanny. I almost feel as though I had stepped into the past.
So do I, and I'm not sure I like it.
Neither am I.
Well, you two surprised me. I thought you would enjoy this charade. I thought it would appeal to your sense of the romantic.
This room is lovely by candlelight. I will say that.
Yes, I quite agree.
Good evening.
Good evening, Barnabas.
Elizabeth.
We were just congratulating you, Barnabas, on the reconstruction of this house. I think you've done a remarkable job.
Thank you. It was a labor of love.
Yes, obviously.
Barnabas, you look so much like the portrait of your ancestor, dressed in those clothes.
I'm not unique in that respect. We all look like the portraits of our ancestors, particularly you, Elizabeth. Dressed that way, you have a striking resemblance to
Great-great-grandmother?
Yes. May I offer you some claret cup?
Thank you.
Oh, by all means. I'm very fond of it.
You always were.
What?
I mean, your ancestor was Joshua Collins.
For a moment, I thought you had me confused with our ancestor.
Well, it gives me great pleasure to think that for a moment we're living in the past. But then I tend to take these things too seriously.
Oh, you'll be amazed at Vicky's resemblance to Josette. I was, certainly.
Really? Yes.
Oh, she and Evelyn ought to be here by now.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was awfully nice of you to let Vicky invite Burke.
It will be a pleasure to have him.
And at any rate, there'll be a Jeremiah Collins to escort Josette. After all, it's only appropriate. They were man and wife.
Yes.
According to the stories I've heard, they were very much in love.
That's not true. I'm sorry. But there's so many false versions of the old legends, and hearing them tends to make me very impatient. Oh, that must be Miss Winters and Mr. Devlin. I'll let them in. Excuse me. Miss Winters.
Hello, Mr. Collins.
May I say how lovely you look?
Thank you.
Hello, Collins. Is anything wrong?
No, of course not. I'm delighted you could come.
For a moment, I thought you objected to something about this costume.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, Miss Winters helped me select it.
I think Burke looks just like Jeremiah Collins, don't you?
Very much so.
Well, I must say I feel rather strange. This isn't exactly my style.
Well, you look very handsome. Don't you think so?
Yes. Will you come in?
Hello, Liz. Carolyn.
Hi.
Evelyn.
I'm sorry we're late. It was my fault.
Oh, it's quite all right. Would you care for some claret cup?
Please.
I was just about to propose a toast.
Well, go ahead.
Thank you.
To the past and all its remembered glories.
To the past.
You know something odd?
What is it?
With this evening, I feel as though I really were in the past.
You know, Vicky, I said the same thing when we walked into this room. I think it's the candlelight. They lend a marvelous atmosphere.
No. I don't think so at all, because I felt that way all evening. When I put on this dress, I really thought that I was Josette Collins.
Was it an unpleasant feeling?
No, quite to the contrary. I think I would have been very happy as Josette.
I like you just the way you are. As Vicky Winters.
Listen,
What, Liz?
the bell tolling the hour.
It's the chapel bell down in the valley.
Oh, I didn't realize you could hear it from here.
Yes, sometimes at night it's quite distinct.
The stroke of 11. The hour before midnight. What a splendid time to be visited by a ghost.
Roger, don't talk like that.
Oh, I was only joking, Liz.
Look,
At what?
the candles are flickering. I wonder why.
It's suddenly so cold in here. So very cold.
Yes, I can feel it too.
Why is it so cold? I can feel it piercing right through me.
Oh, I'm sorry, but this old house does tend to be drafty.
Mother?
What is it, Liz?
I thought I felt something.
Felt something?
I thought I felt a hand touching my shoulder.
But how could that be? There's no one standing behind you.
I know.
Mother, it must have been your imagination.
It seems so real.
You've been very nervous all evening. Now you're starting to imagine things.
Perhaps.
I think Carolyn is probably right.
Of course, this house tends to work in the imagination.
Are you sure it was Liz's imagination? Could you have been touched by a ghost, Liz? A ghost?
You must be joking.
No, I've never been more serious in my life. We all know of the legends of Collingwood, the ghosts from the past that come back to haunt this house. What if one of them was trying to contact you for some reason? I think we should meet it halfway.
How do you mean?
I think we should have a seance.
Seance?
Yes. I think that one of our ancestors is in this room. It may be Joshua, or Millicent, or Naomi, or perhaps Josette. And it's trying to contact us. I think we should find out why. And the answer to that is to have a seance.
Roger, I must warn you, I'm not overly fond of parlor games.
Oh, but this isn't a game. We had a seance once, and to my amazement, it was quite successful. I think we should try it again. There's no doubt that it won't harm us, and it might be fun.
I must protest.
So must I. Roger, you're being absurd.
No, I think we should. What better evening's entertainment than to converse with a ghost from the past?
Roger, I wish you'd stop this.
Oh, now, Liz, I think we should go ahead with it. You'll enjoy it once we get into the swing of it. Now, if one of you gentlemen will help me with this table.
Roger, I dislike saying this, but I really must protest.
Well, why? What is your objection?
Well, I merely object to frightening the ladies.
Are you sure you're not afraid?
Afraid? Why would I be afraid?
Well, many people fear the unseen. But you surprised me. I didn't think you would be one of them.
Of course I'm not afraid.
Well, then shall we proceed?
Really?
It's no use, Barnabas. Once Roger gets an idea in his head, it's very hard to make him change his mind. It's best to humor him.
Good. Then we'll go on with it.
Reluctantly, but I still think it's a waste of time.
Carolyn, Vicky, Devlin, what do you say?
I don't know.
Vicky, I'll leave it to you.
Well, I guess we could try it.
Good. Now, table over here. Now, I'll get this candlestick to the table. There. Now, if you gentlemen will help with the chairs, then we can all take our places. Now, pardon me.
What now?
Now, everyone touch fingertips so that we have a complete circle of communication. Barnabas, you're not joining the circle.
Oh. Forgive me. But I must insist, I think this is a great deal of nonsense.
So do I.
Now, we'll see now. Come along. There. Now the circle of communication is complete. Now, everyone try to erase everything from your mind. Except, of course, the person who's trying to contact us. Concentrate on establishing communication. Now, who is here with us? Who is in this room? Who is trying to communicate with us? Is it you, Joshua? Naomi? Millicent? Josette?
Do you think it could be Josette?
Shh, Vicky, concentrate.
Sorry.
Who's here? Who's in this room? Who are you? We're waiting for you to contact us. We are waiting.
Nothing's going to happen.
Oh, Liz, please.
Speak to us. Whoever you are, we're waiting. We're waiting. Speak to us.
There's nothing here, Uncle Roger.
Speak to us. Speak to us.
I think Carolyn is right.
Speak to us.
I'm afraid I must ask you all to put an end to this.
Of course we should. It's perfectly obvious that it's absolutely wasting time.
All right, but...
Oh,
What is it, Liz?
piercing cold is here again. It's come back.
Yes, I feel it too. There's something here. Something in this room.
The candles. Who blew them out?
No one.
I don't think we ought to go on with this.
The doors.
It's the wind, just the wind.
I think we better call a halt to this right now.
I agree with you.
So do I.
Vicky?
Vicky.
What's the matter, Vicky?
It's too late to stop now. Even if we wanted to. Vicky's going into a trance. We're about to be contacted by someone from beyond the grave.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.